Hello friends, in today's video I'm trying to show you how to build a function to remove duplicate values in Google Sheet. Okay, so this function is very famous and very handy in Microsoft Excel. Okay, we almost use it every day if you are using Excel in your daily work. Okay, so let me show you how this works in Google Sheet. So let's say we have some duplicate values in column A. All right. So 1, 2, 2 ones, 2 twos, and 2 threes. So we just select the values we need to remove, and we go to duplicates, remove duplicates. Now we have the sidebar on the right, and here we can configure our function here. We can, if we have multiple columns here, we can select the columns here. Okay, so we here have two functions. One is to remove the duplicate values, and one is used to highlight the duplicate values here. We'd like to try the first one, so we like to highlight the duplicate values here. Now here the duplicate values are highlighted in red, so for the 1, 2, 3, they are duplicate values. And the next one I'd like to try the remove function, so remove duplicates. Alright, so we only have the unique values remained, and also we can try the multiple columns. Okay, so let's just select the range. We here have 3 columns, and we can refresh the data, so we can select the columns here. So now we have the columns we can select. Okay, let's try. We can only check column A and column C. So if I modify some values here, let's say 2, 2, 2, let's say 2, 1, 2. So, and highlight the duplicates. Alright, so since we only choose column A and column C, so here, so for the row, so this will, for the numbers in row 2 and numbers in row 5, so row 5 will be a duplicate of row 2. Okay, so if I choose all of them, so for all 3 columns, I try to highlight duplicate values here. So, okay, I only select the row 2, so it says no duplicate values if I select all the range here. Not a refresh. All right. So let's do the highlight here. Now we only have 2 duplicate values here, since we checked the column A, B, and C, and try to remove the duplicate values here. All right. So we now have 4 unique values. So basically that's it of this function. I hope someday Google will add this function in AppScript. So it's very useful for a lot of people, I think. And if you are interested in this tool, you can go to File, make a copy of this file. Okay. Then you will be able to see this code in your Google Drive. Let's make a new file and rename it. Let's close this one. So once you copy this file to your Google Drive, you will have full access to this file. And if you go to Tools, Scripts Editor, and you will find the code. Okay, so you can copy the code from the file, and you can try to do some modification if you like. And next I'm going to show you how to build this tool step by step. Actually, I have some videos about sidebar, about how to build sidebars, in Google Sheet, you can try to watch these videos. So here in this project, we also need to use HTML to build the sidebar user interface, and we also need to build some functions, the JavaScript functions in this HTML file to execute the functions in the sidebar. Okay, for the buttons you clicked. And here in this code.js file, we have other files. We can manipulate the data in Google Sheet. Okay, so let's get rid of these files. So let's start from the beginning. So I think I can remove the body here and the script. Okay, so for this style sheet, we also can remove it. And let me show you how to build it from the beginning. Okay, so first I'd like to build the menu here. Okay, so let's build a function. It's always on open. Okay, to build the menu. So spreadsheet app, get UI, and create menu. Let's name it script. And add item as the caption will be remove duplicates. The name of the function, let's name it show sidebar. So add to UI. That's it for this function. Let's try to run this function on open. Okay. I hope we get the new menus here. Alright, so we now have the new menu, and this menu is not valid anymore. Okay, so let's try to build this show sidebar function. So function show sidebar. So this function is going to show the sidebar. Spreadsheet get UI and show sidebar. So this interface we're going to build from. So for our user interface will be a HTML service. So we create. So basically, for very simple HTML, for simple UI, you can use create HTML file from. So you just create a HTML output. So for this one, we'd like to create from file. So we create create a template from a file. So the name will be sidebar. So let's just do this with another. So just call it a template. For this template, I'm going to give it a variable called data. So we're going to get data. So this data is a column information. So you select. So we're going to build this get data function later. And for user interface will be template.evaluate. So and set the title to remove duplicates. And build this function as well. So function get data var range will be spreadsheet get active range. So this is the range you select. for column var values would be range get values, and to get the column index like A, B, C, D, you select. Okay, so we like to do so values 0 for each function. So let's do this. Let's do this another way. So for this range, we're going to have a start column. Okay, we have your range get column, and for end column will be range get last column. So here is the first column is start and is end. So for a column equal to start column that's equal to end column in C++. So let's do this log order log and range. So let's get a reference to the worksheet. So spreadsheet app get active sheet. So let's just log the get range. So row 1, so the column will be with C. So in this way we can get the A1 notation. So let's see what is this in the range here. So if I select this range, we should get A, B, C, A1, B1, C1. And let's try to run this get data function. No. All right, let's see this log here. Okay, so A1, B1, C1. But we only need to get the A. Okay, we just replace the 1 with empty string. Okay, so let's just push the columns, push the value to the columns array, and the value will be should get a range. So row will be 1 and column is C, and get A1 notation and replace it with so we just replace 1 with empty string. So we also can get rid of this line, and we do a log here, log the columns. Okay, and we just return columns. So let's try to run this again and see if we get the result we need. It's running. Okay, so now we get the result we need. So we just get the column index in alphabet. Okay, so this is very useful. We need to add this information in our UI. Okay, so actually, so if you try to run this, you should be able to template is not defined. All right. So template. Always some typos in your code. So let's try to run again. So you get this sidebar with nothing in the sidebar body. Okay, just have the title here. Since we haven't have any write anything in the body section. All right, so let's build this HTML file, and I always use the Google add-on CSS. So this is a standard CSS, which is suggested by Google. So you just copy this link and just copy it and add it to your code. So in this head section, you copy and paste this link to your code, and then you will be able to use all these classes in your code, like the class action, class create, so to style your buttons or your element in your HTML file. Okay, so first we need to build a sidebar div, I think. So class, say the sidebar, and in this sidebar we first have a div here. I'd like to copy some code from my old file to save some time. I hope you can understand it. So first div here, we need to have some information for the users, for the end users. Okay. Okay, here. So sidebar. So we have this paragraph. We need to use. We just copy it. You can say anything just to describe the. Just give the information for end users. So if you like to modify this, so it's just a simple paragraph. And the next section, you need to add some buttons here. Let's just copy these lines here. So let's just save it and try to show you what we are building. So here we don't have anything here. We like to try to run this again. To reload this sidebar, you should be able to see the information. Yes, here in the values in this paragraph. And we can add more elements to this HTML file. So here we add button 1, button 2, button 3. So for the select all and select all and refresh button here, 3 buttons. And here is very important. So let me copy this. So basically, this is dynamic. It depends on. So for this div, for this section here, will be the checkbox for the columns. Okay, so it depends on how many columns you select. So it's dynamic. So we build this with some script here. So to use the script in your HTML file, you need to use this text with question mark here. So if you want to do a loop here, so for I in data, so remember this data is defined here in this template. So that's why we need to use create template from file. We can pass the data in this template, so we can use it in our HTML file. So for I in data, So this data will be the columns index, okay, A, B, C, D, like that. We need to end this function, this loop here. So always put in this tag, and to reference the value here, you need to use this. Okay, the question mark tag and with equal to get the values from your data here. You need to change the data. Data I will be and data I here. So I give an ID for the column name, data I. So I also give the label for this input. So let's refresh this page and see what it looks like in our code, in our spreadsheet. Alright, so here you have ABC, CC, you select the ABC here, and if I select 5 columns, you should be able to have 5 options, A, B, C, D, E. Alright, it's working just like that. And we also need to have another 2 buttons. Just do some copy and paste. I don't want to waste a lot of time on this video. Hope you can understand. So we have a remove button and we have a highlight button, okay? And we all have our footer div here. Just some information I'd like to show you guys. It's not very important. You can get rid of it. Not a big deal. And if I save it, okay, so basically this is all the elements in this HTML file, but none of these buttons are working because we haven't given a script to this button. So first let's try to build our script in this HTML file. So in this body section, at the end of the body, you just give a script tag. Script. There's something wrong here. Okay. So here, we are going to build the function for each buttons here, and here is the variables for each buttons. I like to copy this because it is very just a reference to the element in your HTML file. So it's document get element by ID. So for each of these buttons here, you can see we have ID here. So it helps you to find the buttons. Okay, so 5 buttons for all of them. And for the first function, I'd like to show you here is to select all the elements. Okay, so we are even a listener for click. Okay, once you click the button select all, so this document will find a selector. So query selector all is select all the elements with a class dot columns. So since here we have defined a class here, so for each checkbox with class columns will find all the elements, so all the checkbox in your HTML file here, A, B, C, D, E, like this. So it's dynamic. It's dynamic. It depends on how many columns you select in your your function here, if you select more, so it's just dynamic. So for each of these elements in this array, we are going to check the checkbox. Okay, and very similar to this function to unselect them. It's just a similar function, so you just add this event listener to this button unselect all, and you just set the element attribute checked to false, so it will be unchecked, just like this. And we also have this refresh button here. So for this refresh button, we're just going to run this show sidebar function. So because sometimes you change your range, so if here we have column 1 A, B, C, D, E here. If you select columns more than 5 columns, you will have F here, but you don't have this F. You can refresh this button, so you can have the F there. Let me try to refresh. So it's not working. Okay, let's try to run this again. See if this function is working or not. Okay, it's working now. So select all and select all, and let's try to select just 3 columns here and refresh. So just reload the sidebar, and then now you only have 3 options here. And we have 2 more functions to build. So first one is button click. All right, so oops, something wrong with my file. So this Chrome is, let's remove this. So basically, I just want to show you the process to build this function, but I don't have enough time to build this line by line because it will be a waste of time. So if you don't understand what I'm doing here, you can leave your comments in my video. Okay. So we just got this function. So for this function, you just refresh. Oh no. I think we are on this function to remove the duplicated values here. So here we just add an event listener to remove button. So once we click this button, we are going to get the columns, so which is select in your sidebar. So let me show you sidebar. So once we, alright, where's my sidebar? Okay, let's just try to run it again. Okay, it's showing kind of slow. So here, once you click this button, you will get the information from these checkboxes. So okay, so here we are going to have a function called get columns. This is a very simple function here to get columns here. Let's copy this as well and put it at the beginning. So this function, as you can see, we have columns array. So we're going to query class name columns, and for each of these elements, for these checkboxes. So if this checkbox is checked, we're going to push the ID of this element to this columns array. So since I already defined the ID, I think it's here. Where is the ID? Okay, so the ID here. The ID is the same as the label here in the value, okay? So the ID like ABC, like that. So we can get the columns in an array, like ABC, and we can run this function, remove duplicates with these columns, and with another parameter, is true or false, just like that. So if it's true, we're going to remove the values. If it's false, we just highlight the values without remove the duplicate values. So that's why we have another function to highlight only highlight the duplicate values without removing the duplicates. Okay, so we here have the last one, the same idea to highlight the value and with the second parameter false. Okay, so that's all in this HTML file, and we need to build this function in the GS file. So as you can see here, Google script run is to run a function in your GS file. Okay, we already run a function here to show the sidebar here, to refresh the sidebar. So you just run a function show sidebar. So this show sidebar is defined here. Okay, so this is a function you need to use to run a function from the HTML file. And then we build this function. Actually, I'm not going to go through this function. I just like to explain these functions to you. It is a very simple function here. We'd like to copy it from my original file. Okay, so we just copy the file to this GS file. Now you have the function here. We have two parameters. One is for the columns, like the ABC, like that, and another parameter is to remove the duplicate or not. So if it is remove is true, it means we're going to remove the duplicate values. So if the remove is false, we just highlight the values without remove the duplicate values. Okay, here the idea is very simple here. We just go through the files you select, go through the range you select line by line, and we're going to get a unique values. So if we select, let's try to run this. So if we select column ABC here, so we're going to combine. So combine column A, B, C as one unique values, and to check if there is any other duplicate values in the rest of the lines here. Okay, and so here start from the loop here. We are going to have a key. We're going to join the keys here from each columns. Okay, and very handy to I think I'm not going to explain this line by line. If you met any questions, please give your comments in my video below. Okay, and let's try to see if this is working. Let's try to save it and try to run this highlight duplicated values. Alright, let's try to remove duplicates. So I'll try to reload the sidebar and try to run this function. Alright, no duplicate values found, so we'd like to add some duplicate values here. And select all the data here. Okay, it's working now. And if I try to remove it, okay, it's working. And if I only select the column A and refresh it, now we only have one option here, and we can remove the duplicated values. We can just highlight the duplicated values here. So 2 is the duplicated values here. Since we have 2 here in row 2, and we can remove it. Okay, so it's working. So I think that's it for today's video. And if you have any questions about this code, please leave your comments in my video. I'll see you next time. Bye bye, guys.